Ooh! What's up, Sunday fams? Welcome back to another video. My name is Flip, and we get together each and every week and post videos except for Sundays.
So we're watching Sundays.
In this video, we're covering Yumi Cells, who stars Kim Go Eun, who races us once again from Eternal Monarch, Memories of the Sword, and Goblin, aka Guardian, is now in this new romantic comedy. It's really quirky, and if you're into romantic comedies, especially with Kim Go Eun, you're gonna love this one.
This was a pleasant surprise for me, especially going in knowing such works as Cells at Work, but I knew that we were going to be dealing with some kind of look into like the cellular work, as it says, Yumi Cells. So Yumi is having trouble with her love life. It starts off explaining how she is 100 from the start, in love with the person she's with, and then she gets her heart broken, and we get this really awesome look into the physiological working of Yumi with this animated depiction of all of her cells. They have names like sensitivity, revenge,
hunger, passion, you know, there's anxiety. There's all these cells that manage her emotions on a day-to-day basis. And at the crux of this story and her drama is that her story really kind of revolves around a past breakup that was so tragic and traumatic to her cells that her own tears ends up flooding the most important cell of them all, which is love, to go into a coma.
And without the love cell, all of her other cells like anxiety and sensitivity are taking up the brunt of the work, and they're trying to manage her emotions when she meets Woogie, or a junior at her workplace, who starts giving out like these weird, ambiguous like signals to her. The problem is he is her junior, 5 years younger, and so she can't really tell if this is something she should be pursuing.
And her cells are like at work here. Just like it's not a pun, cells at work here, but the cells are at work here. They don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know how to react. They don't know how to manage her reactions, because this could be the very first love that she's had in quite a long time.
3 years.
3 years. And it's because of this, the love cell suddenly wakes up. And so there's all these shenanigans happening. It's like, woo, go Yumi, Yumi. We gotta get into this date, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And then there's this rival. Her name is Ruby, who's competing for the same attention for Woogie. And, you know, like, love is finally alive and getting into the action, like getting all of the cells working for Yumi. And, you know, like, it's all these shenanigans going back and forth between Woogie, Ruby. It's almost like a love triangle. And so fast forward to the Flower Festival, where, you know, they're finally trying to get Yumi to be brave enough to go after like some love here.
What I love about the cells and how they are integrated in terms of like the animation, first of all, the animation is great.
It's awesome.
But the integration into like all of these scenes where they're managing her reactions or managing how she's responding to certain signals, like there's a lever that manages her reactions, and sometimes she can't help it but to shift to like this ambivalence where it's like, I don't care what you're talking about. And they're like, no, go back to smile. Ruby, she sets up the situation where Woogie and Yumi would be at this flower festival, and she says, oh, I'm gonna be on Busan. When they have the chance to be alone together, Ruby shows up and presents a foil to Yumi, and that's when all of the cells are like, oh no, run Yumi, run! And dodge frisbees and stuff to get to Woogie first, and then drags him away to the cafe.
I thought that was hilarious. It's like, I guess if it was a love rival and you see them, like, what would you do? Like, that would be really complicated, I guess. Like, she just like kind of turns around and books it. She's like, forget you. Who cares about your feelings? I'm going after this guy because it's my turn to have some love. What I love about the cells is that it invites you to cheer for Yumi at the same time, because they're holding out signs like, go Yumi, go Yumi. They're just like,
they had the clappers,
all into it, you know?
Yumi!
It's so much fun, and it's so wholesome, and this is a different take of Kim Go Eun, who usually her roles are a lot more serious, but this one is a romantic comedy. She's so quirky, she's so perfect for it.
And what makes this show even better is that the integration of the cells and being able to see her inner workings of how she's working through her emotions makes it so much more relatable. And I was having a watch along, and the first thing that I did say was, get to Woogie first, run! And I was like, when the cells started saying, run Yumi, I was like, yes! When I suggested that, I was like, get to him first so that Ruby is the third wheel. But when Yumi got there, she had a different plan, and that was to leave Ruby alone by herself.
I mean, it was pretty selfish, but like you have to do what you gotta do,
You gotta.
right? But then all of a sudden, like, you know, fast forward into them in the cafe, things didn't work out as they were planned. You know, this first date, this first love in a long time is supposed to be happening right now. Things are supposed to be blooming, hearts are supposed to be fluttering, and then we find out Woogie is not, you know.
Woogie is Woogay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not interested in a romantic sense towards the opposite sex.
Yeah, I had my suspicions. Frankly, the way he was talking to her was way too smooth, way too slick, way too sly. No, listen, he's her junior. He had way too much confidence, and he was saying all the right things. I was like, when she asked, "Do you have a girlfriend?" He said, "No." I looked at his face. I was like, because he has a boyfriend.
No.
And I had my suspicions.
I guess I was kind of suspicious as well because like it doesn't happen that easy, does it? It's not that easy to like just find somebody, and it's so spontaneous that like, ooh, like of course you're gonna send mixed singles, you know?
Like on episode 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I like you, you like me? Okay, credits. Dun, 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 dun. You know, fast forward to her finding this out and having a cry fest in the bathroom. He wants to introduce her to his friend, and which is interesting because this is where I start to think that, okay, so this is the crux of the show. She's gonna meet him, he's gonna be a total loser, and they're not gonna click. And this is where love has to come back into the picture, because love right now, because of her tears of finding out that he is not the one, got swept away in the flood again. And love and a couple of other cells were swept away, and they're stranded on an island inside of Yumi. I think the crux of the show is meeting this guy, Woogie's friend, Gu Wong. They already introduced us to Gu Wong's cells, and I think his cells are gonna find the stranded island.
What? No way. They're never gonna like go over to Yumi's body.
I don't know. There's certain acts that can make that happen.
Well, I think it's really cool, right? Because the Yumi cells are very naive. The first interaction of what could be love, they're all for it, you know. But now after all of this, like almost like another heartbreak, they're almost like a little bit depressed. They're like more guarded now. The cells are just like, well, who is this guy? Like, so it's up to this relationship between Gu Wong to kind of convince the cells that he is the right love for her. And it's gonna be that kind of journey. It's gonna be a back and forth, a tug of war battle between her cells convincing Yumi that this is the right choice, and of course Gu Wong's cells to kind of like reawaken, because it's a kind of a deserted place right now.
It's like a wild, wild west with the dirt and the dust just filling the town. There's gonna be tumbleweeds rolling. And yeah, that's true, because her expression lever has been broken in that flood, and so they've reverted to this kind of like automatic expression doll.
It's hilarious.
That she just like, so yes, in her interactions with Gu Wong, he's very much presenting himself as like mind blank, brain empty kind of guy, and she's just going along with it because her expressions are on autopilot, and every joke that he tells, whether it's bad or not, she's just like, "Ding." And so it's going to be very interesting to follow this show along to see how much more intimate we're going to get with the cells and how much more cells we're going to get introduced to. There's a lot of emotions, and every time I saw a new cell come out, I was like, that's awesome. This is so relatable.
I love Revenge Cell and the Hunger Cell. Like, there's nothing more relatable than the Revenge Cell and the Hunger Cell. When she was working and crunching numbers and she couldn't focus, the Revenge Cell was like this giant cell, like, I am hungry. And then when she got her heart broken, the Revenge Cell was like, Ruby must die. You know, like, we all go through those in our heads all the time.
So we look forward to following this show. It's a very, very fresh take on a very, very familiar subject matter, which is romance and love. Always the subject matter of these K-dramas, but seeing these animated cells at work is just very, very interesting, very, very fresh, and we can't wait for more.
Oh, I love it so far. If you're watching Yumi Cells, leave your comments in the section below. What is your favorite cell? In any case, that is it for our video. Leave us a like, subscribe if you haven't already, tap that bell so you know when we post new videos, and we'll see you next time.
내게 다가와줘 날 바라봐줘 날 사랑